Live. Here we go. Oh, hello everyone. Two people in already. Two people waiting. Makes a change. Normally the first couple of minutes sitting there on my own having a bit of a chat. So thank you for the guys that are sitting there waiting. How are you all doing? I am. This is a picture of exhaustion on a couple of hours sleep. So self-inflicted. So I was working last night and then got back home, went golf, then had to do some bits and bobs. So 2 hours sleep. I was up for about 26 hours, a couple of hours sleep, and then I woke up about 6, ready to do this. So welcome to a live Q&A / talk. This is basically me talking about videos that have come out and things like that, and also your chance to put some questions, get in the comments. Like I say, get some questions out there. There'll be some people dropping in that maybe can answer them. I can obviously give my best answer. There'll be other people that pop in that'll be able to give answers as well. So yeah, I've had a bit of a day. Trod in dog crap on my trainer. So is that good luck or bad luck? Is that like the same as a pigeon crapping on you? Is it meant to be good luck? It's not great luck because my trainers are sitting out on the balcony now. But so yeah, what's been going on? So last two videos have been the van tour. Went down really well. It was my top video. Like you get on the YouTube studio, you get like a list of your last 10 videos. And that was outperforming the other 9 videos by about 40 views. So that one seemed to have gone down really well. And then the last video I done was the 24 hours, which again is just behind the van tour video. So that one's done really well as well. Reason for them, like the van tour, I got asked to do that video because someone wanted to try and have a look for ideas to how to set their van up. They wanted for ideas of different things that I have. They wanted to see what I kind of had as like a basic setup. So that van tour was just like just for people just to see what's going on and things like that. And then the 24 hours with me and Coop, that I enjoyed that video because that was like, that kind of shows not the dedication, but that shows if you want to do dog training and obviously you working as well, that will give you an idea of like what you have to do. So I have to be up for 24 hours if I want to go dog training, and that's why I'll probably do it once every 2 or 3 weeks just to have that long day to go dog training. But I feel like that video was good to show people like the commitment you have to put into it and the commitment that dog handlers do put in. I'm not saying that I'm the only one that does that. I'd say that probably 80% of dog handlers that go to CT training are doing it on the back of a shift. So they are going to be up for 24 hours just to do the training. So hopefully that shows like the commitment that you have to put in if you want to do the training as well as working. And that was a good video. So I sort of took you through a prep of like how I prepare for my shift, kind of like a timeline of what I do in terms of like setting up, preparing my lunch, what time I've got up, obviously preparing the dog, what time I start getting myself ready, obviously then getting to the shift, making sure that I've got enough time to get to the shift. When I start my shift, I've done like a initial patrol, just explaining what that is. I've said it in another video, but just explaining what an initial patrol is. And then obviously doing the shift. Now, this is where my videos not going to struggle, but this is where my videos maybe not so many on site now because of the daylight hours. So when I get to site at the moment, I've probably got about 2 hours of daylight before it's dark, and obviously using the camera in the dark doesn't work very well. So probably like I did earlier when I first started this, is that my videos are going to be more at home, or there's going to be different types of videos. But yeah, obviously in that video, like we've done a shift, done like an update, showed bits and pieces of like some patrols and eating some food, like just using my body cam, which I think come out quite well, to be fair. And then obviously finishing the shift, going CT training, showing you CT training, showing my dog's progression in certain different things. I think we done a patrol. I've done some agility. So maybe that's some of the stuff that you haven't seen before. Now it was going up and over the A-frame and trying to put in some commands and things like that. Getting over the A-frame, down in the dog, making them wait, being able to call them back over, sit in front of you and doing it under control. Not that your dog sprints over and starts running around like he did like the first time in it. And obviously when you call the dog over, that the dog doesn't come over and run past you and start running around before it comes and sits in front of you. So that agility stuff was good. And then some sort of protection work as well. That was good. That was just obviously his progression. Showed a bit of improvement on his bite with a different kind of mitts that he had. So obviously he had it on like a soft one. He had it on like a round, hard, like bite bar kind of thing. And then obviously the sleeve as well. So yeah, I thought that was a good video. UK Security 101, Aaron. Hey mate, I'm here. Hi mate, how you doing? I know that you're on shift, so you're going to be dropping in and out. So yeah, like I say, if anyone's got any questions, he'll be in and out to do certain different things. Danny Rolfe, hi. Van tour was good. Shows what you need, not all the goofy stuff. So yeah, that's, I'll say the van tour is, I have such a basic setup, mainly because of the site I'm on, that I don't have to live out my van, that it will show you like the minimum that you need. And to be honest with you, I'll get away with it, but I think it's everything that it's everything that you're going to need to sort of, even if I needed to live out of that van, I still could. I'll probably have a couple of more blankets in there, and like I said, with like the extension lead and the heater to be able to plug in, that's probably all I'm missing. I could easily spend 2 or 3 nights in that van on a consecutive basis, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't really feel out of place compared to the cabin. I'd obviously go into the cabin to have some food, but if I never had the cabin with the electricity of the microwave, it's quite simple. You just take some wraps or you take a sandwich instead of your hot meal. So obviously just having that cabin with the microwave just allows me to have the hot meal, but I could easily live out of that van for 2 or 3 nights in a row on shift, and I wouldn't really feel any difference, to be honest. Do you have a written log of CT training? I do. If you give me 2 seconds. Oh, right. So in terms of CT training, so every time that I will go to CT training, I get like a log. So it looks like so. I don't know if that comes up. Is that coming up back to front to you guys? I don't know if it does. So basically what it says, if I try and do it this way. So across here, this is obviously Terry, who's my trainer. Date issued is the 11th of the 7th. Dog training log. That's obviously my name. Company, which is my original one. License number. Run out date. So when my license runs out. Microchip and tattoo of my dog. Then you've got dog's name, dog's date of birth. Is it a company dog? No, because it's my personal dog. Multi-handled, no. So that's obviously a lot of companies will have a dog that 4 or 5 handlers will use. So that is a multi-handled dog. Now, I'm not a great fan of that, because if with a multi-handled dog, the dog doesn't get used to like one certain person. And I think there has been stories about a multi-handled dog turning on certain handlers because it's treated differently or because of the way they handle it. I'm not quite sure. So breed GSD, so new to no, colour black and tan, sex male, NASDO run out date 17th of December 2021. And then just got down there, who's the trainer of the day? So my trainers or trainee trainers of the day. And then if you see, like, you have like the different fields down the side here. So group socialization, obedience, sit down, stand down, stays on lead, standard. So I guess if my dog is up to standard, we just get, it just says that we are standard. Field external search, detect, arrest, escort, challenges, used ball rewards. So that's the standard. So that's the patrol. That's going out on an external search of the premises, finding a person, arresting them, escorting them, challenging them, things like that. Get standard for that. On this one, question and answer session on NASDO manual. So that's when we sit down and we talk about our, and we'll get asked questions, and it'll be like a group discussion, that kind of stuff. How good was I on that? Did I have good Did I give a lot of feedback, or was I involved in it, or did I kind of sit in the corner and let everyone else answer the questions? Now that won't happen, because obviously the trainer will see that you're shying away from the sorry, dog was barking. So the trainer will see that you're hiding away from questions, and they'll probably ask you one straight there and there and make you answer it, or make you say, no, I don't know. So training compound sleeve work, dog and handler, standard. So I know a lot of people say my dog's not good at biting, etc. We are of a standard as of a NASDO trainer that's passed us. Training room question answer session on day's training. So obviously we will sit down near the end of the session, and the trainer will say, right, has anyone got any questions about what we've done today? Obviously we'll ask questions, he'll answer them, or he'll ask us questions and we'll answer them. So we get that. And then down the bottom here, it says learning hours CT. So that is obviously my continuation training. We both sign it, and then we get that. So each training session you get mark it as attending and what's been done. So yeah, so that's just a log. So if anyone needs to know how many times we've been to training and what we've done in there, that's what it is. And we get one every session we go to. So obviously the next time I'll turn up, I'll get the sheet for the time before. So you're always one behind. So like I say, it's that's what you get. You get one every session, and like I say, it's a log. I keep a copy. The trainer keeps a copy. There's also, he'll have it on a computer. So if I lost this one, he'll be able to print it out and give it to me. You don't necessarily need to. Show them to anybody unless someone asks for them. My employer might ask me if I've been to training and can they have a copy of it, but it's highly unlikely, to be honest, because they just want to know that you have been training, and it's a log for you to be able to prove if something was to happen on site and the insurance company say, well, has this handler been training, their continuation training, you can give it to them and say, yeah, this was last time I went, or here's the last 3 months worth of training. We're up to standard. We've continued our training, that sort of stuff. Thinking of that says the 11th of the 7th, 2021. It's not even November yet. I wonder what month that was. I have to bring that up with him. I have to have a look and see what that is, because that's in the future. But yeah, so yeah, like I say, that's what you'll get every time you turn to training. So every time I turn up to training, I sign in. So when he goes home after training, he can look at his sign-in sheet and he'll say, right, these 4 people were at training. We done all of this. That person was good. That person was standard. That person was good input. So some of the times when I first started, things like the question and answer session on the NASDO handbook, I'll get like a good input. So I'm not standard, but I could put good input into it, showing that I'm learning or I'm understanding like the questions that are being asked. Not knowing them, but giving good input. Make sure if I'm asking questions, then obviously that's good input, because that me asking a question, not knowing the answer, maybe will lead to a different answer or a different conversation, and it just sort of. So yeah, you get one of them every session. Obviously, I've got absolutely loads. I file them in a little book. So I've got the ones where I was training with my NASDU, where I was doing my hours. So where at the bottom it said CT training, there'll be like my 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, all the way up to 60. So I kept them ones separate as my training, and then in a different folder I've got all my CT training of all the continuation stuff and things like that. So yeah, that was good. That was a good question, Danny. So yeah, you should get one, and obviously keep it for yourself, because if you do have an incident on site, there's a good chance that the insurance company will want to know that handler's been continuation training and they haven't passed their NASDU and then just got no training ever since then. So yeah, that was a good question, Dan. Oh, what's up with you? Why are you barking? Yeah? Yeah, good boy. So some other stuff that's been going on. Dan Alfie, he had a go at me because he wanted a little bit of a name drop. So Dan Alfie, this is your name drop. He is the guy that I've been helping. He's got a young puppy. He's got a van and he wanted to sort out a cage, different things like that. And he messaged me, and I've helped him get a cage and things like that, and like his setup, told him about the air vent, things like that. And then the other day he asked me about the sign on my cage. So on the sign on my cage, I've got a sign that basically says that trained protection dogs are in this vehicle, and please don't interfere with the dog. Do not attempt to open the cage, because you could harm yourselves or you could harm others. My dog gives a good alert that you probably won't want to open the cage, but there's some dogs that are maybe a little bit more silent, and they'll wait for you to open the cage, and then they'll come bursting out. And it may not be that person opening the cage that gets hurt. It could be someone behind them, or it could be anyone that's around. So I've got that sign, and Dan asked me about where to get them, things like that. I looked online, I couldn't really find any, so I picked one up from my trainer and put it in the post to him, and yeah, we sorted it out that way. But yeah, Dan Alfie, like I say, he's not even started his NASDU yet, but he seems really keen. He's trying to get himself set up so that when his puppy is ready to start doing the training. But these are the kind of people that I will go a little bit extra to try and help. I'll try and help as many people as I can. But if I know that there's someone out there, I know lots of you in the comments and that, and I see regular people that are always there, always asking questions, always having a bit of an input. I will go that extra little bit to help you with them sort of signs and pick them up for you and get them to you, things like that. Because he's trying to do it right from the start. And I wish that, although I had good trainers that were really helping me, and my trainer's really good, that if I need something, drop him a message. He said, right, this is what you need, this is where you get it, etc. Or he'll send me a link. Not everyone has that, where they can go to someone and say, I need this, what one do you need? These signs, where do I get them? So if I see that someone from the early part is trying to do it properly and trying to set himself up properly from the start, then I'll probably go that extra mile to try and help them. But I'll try and obviously help everyone as much as I can. But certain people that come across, if they come across the right way to me, then I will obviously try and help them as well. So yeah, Dan, he's got like his van, he's got his cage set up now, he's got his sign, he's getting his air vent done, and his puppy's only like 2-3 months, I think. It's still quite a young puppy, and he sent me a video of like his of like training, and I'm sure Dan won't mind me talking about this. So he sent me a video of him doing some training it looked like it was in a park, and it was quite late at night, doing a bit of training in the park, and just sent me a video of him doing it and saying like, oh, this is where we've got to, and things like that. And his dog was pretty good with like the down. He'll kind of stay, but then want to come towards. And the only thing I'll come out with that is that trying to get Dan to be a little bit more patient and a bit less confrontational. I think it's quite easy when you first start. I mean, I do it occasionally now and things like that. Sometimes frustration with me is like not snap on the dog, but I get a bit frustrated and I get a bit sharp with the dog, and that never really ends very well. So Dan, when he was doing his training, he was quite sharp. He was quite snappy with the dog. It was like stay down, things like that. And basically all I was saying to him was like, just soften it up. He's only a puppy. You're just learning it. And I was just trying to explain to him about lengthening out words like sit down and things like that. And that'll be the best way to do it, because like with my dog, if I get snappy with him and sharp, it can go one of two ways. He can either turn around and say, why are you coming at me? And he can be a bit confrontational. Or if I do it in a certain voice, he'll think, oh crap, like he means that now. So I was just trying to explain to him about this is part of being a handler. Everyone thinks that like the part of the NASDO thing is that you're training the dog and your dog has to get to a standard. It's not. It's also training a handler. And before I started getting into this, although I've done like puppy training and things like that, I wish someone that got hold of me and said, right, this is how you do it. Now, I can still do obedience training with my dog and still continue that kind of stuff. But the early days where you can get them to do the sits, the downs, the stays, that's where you get the most improvement. Now, I can still improve him, but still in the back, he has that old thing of like, I'm still going to do what I want to do. So like I say, with Dan, it's more of like lengthening the words, and it's like a sit down and trying to take the confrontation out of it. If you go sit down, stay, the dog's like, what? Why are you being snappy with me? What have I done wrong? And it's just like, and you're just doing little training. The dog doesn't understand why you're being loud and snappy with it. Side and Safety Management Cornwall. Now, you are Security 101's or Aaron's boss. Is that correct? I was speaking to Aaron afterwards, and he said, oh, my boss was following you. It was quite weird. We was on there, and I found out my boss was following you. So when you start, it is being eager that makes you get snappy with the dog. There is also a lot of pride when you first start that you think you might need to be failing when the dog doesn't perform. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I try to be. So that's what I was saying about Dan. Just calm it down, just settle, just take your time. It's not a race when you're teaching your dog something. Everyone thinks that, like when I was doing a lot of my protection work with my dog, it's like a lot of people want like instant results, but it's not. It's a process, and I understood that it was going to take time for my dog to do the protection side of it. But I was willing to do the hours outside of training to make sure it happened. And yes, it is eager. Like, people want instant results, and we live in a world where you want instant results. So when you're trying to teach your dog something, if it's not quite happening, the quick thing is to get snappy with them rather than just taking your time. And look, teaching a dog to down and stay isn't gonna be something that happens overnight. Now, you might be able to teach the dog to go down with a certain way, and then the next day you'll need to be able to get them to go down without, maybe not forcing them to go down, but like the best way to do it is to get a treat, put it in front of their nose, drop it to the floor, stretch it out, and the dog will go down and then stretch themselves out into a lay. So then your dog knows the down, and you do it that way for a few nights. But then the next stage to that is to get the dog to down when you haven't got a treat, and then giving them the treat afterwards. And then the next one from that is being able to make your dog down from 20 yards. So you put the dog in a sit, walk 20 yards. Oh, God. So put the dog in a sit, walk 20 yards, turn around, get the dog to down. So it's not that, it's a process, and you have to take your time with it and not get snappy with the dog and not rush things. I think that's the kind of thing I've been trying to put across to people, that none of this is a race. Dogs take different dogs take different times to get to certain places. The same way handlers take different timelines to get to the same place. Well, this is, got it. Oh. So I've got him running around me. That's a good boy. All right, mate. Right, UK Security 101. To be fair, you do a good job. Well, that's what you want to hear from an employee. As a dog handler, you should be learning every day. As time goes on, you and the dog build a better bond, and the work gets easier and easier. No one has a perfect dog in this industry, and that's obviously what I was saying just then. And the thing is if you're trying to teach your dog with like snappy and kind of like forceful commands, the dog is going to fight back against that a little bit. And even now, like, I'm not the perfect handler. I'm never going to say I am. And there's certain times where I just get really frustrated with him, that I know he's not doing, I know he's acting up, and you have to be a little bit tough with him. But I also understand that if I get too confrontational with him, it's only going to get worse, because he will kind of bounce against that. The same way Ryan, when he comes to training with us, he said, look, when my dog's off lead, I can have him heeling. He walks really nicely. If I put the lead on him, he's not quite as good, because you've taken kind of like the freedom away from the dog and the choice away from the dog, and he kind of fights back against that. Now, we did fix that, but it's the dog realizing that having the lead on is not a restriction. It's just like a safety precaution, and he can still do what he wants, or he can still do the job of the obedience work with the lead on. It's not like he doesn't have to fight it. And yeah, like I say, everyone likes to pretend like they've got the perfect dog. And I've said this about YouTube and certain social media, that people will only put up what they want the world to see. And it's people's perception is that this dog is really good, and this dog never misbehaves. This dog's perfect in every way. But remember that you're only seeing what they want you to see. Obviously, you only see what I want you to see, and whether that's good or bad, or whether you think I come across genuine, or whether you think I'm hiding stuff, that's entirely up to you. I think that I'm pretty honest, and I put out sort of everything that I think you should be able to see. I feel I'm quite honest. Obviously, I have to cut things. I can't do a video that's an hour long just because I don't want you to miss anything. So there are obviously bits that get cut, but I feel like I leave a lot of stuff in. A bit like the agility work in my 24 hours video. It's quite easy for me just to put the last one in where he does it really well, and cut the ones where he goes over, runs in the tunnel, gets stuck in the tunnel, and things like that. So remember that you only ever see what everyone wants you to see, and some people aren't as honest maybe as others. I'm not calling anyone out on that, but there are certain people that won't put out the bad stuff. So yeah, like I say, it's no one has a perfect dog. You just have to make sure that you take your time and do it properly. And some of my advice would be that if you've got a trainer, listen to your trainer. Don't listen to other handlers. There will obviously be handlers at your training that have experience, and some of them will have some good input, but don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in what others are saying. Listen to your trainer, the person you're paying to teach you, and they'll tell you the truth. Because at the end of the day, no good trainer will pass you if they don't feel that you're up to the job. Because if something goes wrong and it gets, they backtrack it to this trainer and they say, why have you passed this handler, he doesn't know what he's doing, it's going to be bad on them. So always trust that the person that you're paying to train you, listen to them. And obviously there will be certain handlers that take good advice and things like that. And I think that in this industry, you have to kind of take yourself away from what you're being told and try and dissect it to, is this person just saying something because they want to sound like they know what they're talking about, or is this person saying something because they understand the law? So UK Security 101, Aaron, I know that when he talks to me, I know that he's talking to me with a knowledge that he's learned. He's taken the time to learn that stuff. I don't feel like Aaron is going to come up and talk to me about something he doesn't know about just because he wants me to think that he does. So you have to kind of understand that. And like I say, you'll get used to listening to people and kind of like deflecting some of the stuff and things like that. Siraj, I hope that's right. I'm so bad with names. Hi, any recommendations for websites to provide public liability insurance? UK Security 101, who I would say would know more about this than me. Simply Business or SIU Security Industry United. So so that's obviously if you need some public liability insurance, UK Security 101 says Simply Business or Security Industry United. They seem to do the right one. Poseidon safety man. Poseidon, what's your actual name? Obviously, like your not your company name, like your actual name, because I've seen you quite a lot, and I don't know, unless you like me calling you Poseidon, and I assume that's I'm saying that correct as well. 100% do not listen to the bull stuff spouted out by most of this industry. There is a lot of Am I meant to be reading this reading this out word for word? Right, I'll read it out word for word. 100% do not listen to the bullshit spouted out by most of this industry. There is a lot of dick measuring that goes on, and the people stabbing each other in the back just to keep head down. Just keep your head down and learn. Nick. To be honest, I've had a look at my analytics, and there's 18 to 24 and 24 to 30 something is my age range. So we can say them words. Absolutely love you, boss legend. Hold nothing back. And I think that's kind of like the way what I was trying to say in a different way. Now there obviously be certain people that will tell it how it is, and there'll be certain people that try and dodge around it. That's exactly what I was saying, is that a lot of people will kind of talk for the sake of talking rather than giving you actual knowledge. And a lot of the time it's to try and prove that they are better than you or they know more than you, things like that. And a lot of it's not really constructive. Like, that's what I've tried to be. And that's what a lot of this chat is people are actually being constructive, and everything seems to be quite constructive. There are lots of handlers out there that aren't constructive, and they'll say, "Oh, like I saw your dog was doing the patrol. I saw your dog was doing the patrol. My dog found the person quicker than your dog." And you're like, "Well, okay, right, well done." But they're the kind of comments that you'll get, and they'll say like, "Oh, what you want to do is you want to do it this way, and your dog will find the person quicker." And sometimes it's them trying to say like, "We're better than you because we done it quicker." But at the end of the day, like someone had a go at one of my patrols because in like a 5-acre square patch of grass, we found someone in 4 minutes. Now, if I'm on site, it's not a race to try and find someone. Like, as long as we find that person, I'm there for 15 hours. If it takes me 30 seconds to find the person, or it takes me 5 minutes, I'm not in a race. As long as we actually find that person, So it's not so much that it's not so much you have to pit yourself against someone else. Like there's lots of people that go out there and it will take them 7-8 minutes or 10 minutes to find it, but they still do exactly the same job I did. They might take it a bit longer, but it also might mean that when I went down, my dogs messed up the track for the next dog. So if someone goes down before me and finds someone in 2 minutes, when I go down, if that person's moved and my dog goes down and follows the other dog and follows the other handler and goes to where the person was hiding first before they moved, yes, it's going to take us longer because we've gone to where he was and now we've got to track back across to where they're now hiding. So it's, like I say, it's not a race. You shouldn't be in competition with each other. You should just all see the end result and sit down and say, right, did you find him? Yes. Did you find him? Yes. Did you find him? Yes. Right, we all done the job. It doesn't matter that someone found it in 3 minutes and someone found him in 10 minutes. It's not the end of the world. Right. UK Security 101. Absolutely love it. Oh, I've read that already. Poseidon, Nick at Poseidon. You've done a good job at showing people the real start of what it is like to be a dog handler in the private security industry. And obviously that is what my channel is based out. I understand that a lot of my subscribers, or it's probably quite a balance now, I'd actually say, but I'll say a lot of my subscribers and a lot of people that message me are people that are either just starting their NASDO, people that are thinking about doing it, people that have got the dog and wondering whether they should do it, people that have a dog and say, do you reckon I would be able to do it? So yeah, I think I understand that I kind of have to do videos to show people what it's really like. Now, I have a really good video idea that I'm looking to do with UK Security 101. He's going to be like my first one, and it's going to be like real stories. So I've obviously been doing this job for 9-10 months now. It's been a quite quiet 9-10 months, and I want to talk to UK Security 101 on like a Zoom that we'll record and get his real life stories of like the last 5 years. And like it's quite easy for me to give you like the spill of like certain things that happen, things like that. But I think it would be quite nice if I can get someone on to do like give their side of the story and give their experiences. Like every dog handler has had different experiences, and I feel like some of the stories that he's told me, I was like, people need to hear this, because it's okay me doing the videos when nothing's ever happening and people think, well, nothing ever happens, like, but there is serious sides, and there are serious stories that certain people will need to listen to and decide then if they think it is a job for them, or is it something that would, if that happened to them, that they would stop working it straight away. So that's a video idea. I'm going to try and sort that out reasonably quickly. But yeah, that's maybe some of the videos that I want to do. I mean, I want to take it, maybe if I can, do it with certain different people around the industry, whether that's like a company owner, whether that's a trainer, different handlers, things like that, and try and do like a series where you can see and get honest views from people around the industry and think, oh, actually, I didn't quite know that, or I didn't know how that worked, or get like an employer's kind of view on the job. So obviously all you see is like my side of it, of where we turn up, do our shift, things like that. But there must be, on the business owner side of it, something a bit different, and they can maybe give a different point of view to maybe what I can give. So that's kind of what I want to look at and try and sort out pretty quick. And I think that would be really interesting, really helpful for people that want to do this job and listen to some of the stories and think, oh, actually, I don't fancy that, or thinking, no, that would be okay, I could deal with that. So that's sort of some of the idea, and like I say, I'm going to try and sort that out soon. UK Security 101. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to find them. It matters how you handle yourself when you do find them. There's an old saying in dog handling: the dog will always take you to danger, and that is kind of the thing as well, isn't it? It's that I said about being this job is not like being a police dog handler. So when you're a police dog handler, you know when your phone rings that you're going to go and fight, you're going to the trouble. This job, the trouble has to come and find you, but the dog, it's his job to take you to the danger, isn't it? So I'm not saying, never going to say that this job is danger free, because at the end of the day, the dog will take you to the danger, and that's why I feel like we have to be appreciated for what we do, because a bit like the police, where if something happens, people run away and the police run towards it. If something happens on site, your job is to protect the premises and the people in the premises. So if I turn up to my site and there is someone attacking either like the workers or the site manager, someone like that, touch wood, it never happens. But if that is to happen, it's my job to put myself, or put me and the dog in between them two people. And it works the other way, is that you can use the dog to obviously calm down. If my worker is, if I turn up and my worker is winning the fight, it's my job to say, right, stand back, stop that, it's over. But on the flip side of that, if the attacker is beating up the works person, it's my job to stop it as quick as possible, and obviously then deal with the situation that way. So you're always going and putting yourself in the middle of a situation where a lot of people will be turning around and walking off. So yeah, the dog will always take you to the danger, and that is, in hindsight, part of your job. Your job on site is to find the danger and deal with it, not to be walking the other way with the dog. Siraj, I agree. I'm hopefully going to get my NASDU certificate, and your videos have been very informative. Good work. So thank you, Siraj. And I get a lot of them. Comments, or I'll get people messaging me saying similar sort of stuff, and I really appreciate when someone comes out and says that. And yeah, look, Siraj, I really appreciate that, and it makes me know that what I'm doing is helping people. I've always had an idea that what I'm doing is really helping people and really getting people starting off in the right way. And like I say, my idea of this is to make the next generation of handlers better, and no, I don't want to say better than the previous, because every generation has good and bad handlers. But I want to make sure that the next generation of handlers understand the job before they get into it, or as they're training and things like that, and have somewhere to maybe go back and look. Like if you go back and if one day you're thinking, oh, actually, what is the regulations for a dog handler's vehicle? You could go back to my video and watch the vehicle video. That will give you all the information you need, and you haven't then got to try and find it. It's there ready for you to look at. So, Siraj, thank you very much for that, and I appreciate that kind of feedback. Nick, Siraj, you will struggle to get a NASDU presser NASDU certificate, as it is not an approved guarding breed. What's presser? PRESA. Siraj, I know, but I will still try. I know a few people who have done their presser NASDU certificate already. Hopefully, I will be able to. If not, I will continue working him in personal protection. Presser Canario. Okay. I don't think have I heard of that before? I don't think I've really heard of that. was that Spanish Mastiff. It's a breed of dog. So yeah, going back, I've probably mentioned this in every video that I've done, like the cane Corso thing. Actually, I actually subscribe to quite an interesting YouTube channel, bloke in America that has one of them. So just going back to, I've probably said this in every video. So NASDU recognise sort of 4 breeds, but probably the Shepherd. So you get the German Shepherd and like the Dutch Shepherd. I'd say that they just come under sort of Shepherds. So you get them, Belgian Malinois, a Doberman, and a Rottweiler. They're kind of the 4 or 5, depends if you call Dutch Herder and German Shepherd the same one. They're the breeds that are recognised really by NASDU, and you will, if you want to use different dogs, you will have to get like a pass or speak to NASDU themselves and ask if you can do that training. But like I say, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, Malinois, and I believe it's a Dutch herder. Is it Dutch herder or Dutch Shepherd? They're the ones that you'll be able to do your training without having to prove like its background. Now here's a question for everyone that's here. Does anyone know what the pressure per square inch is of a German Shepherd bite? I actually found this out the other day, and it sounds absolutely insane. But does anyone know what the pressure per square inch is of a German Shepherd bite? I'll let you, if anyone knows, I'll let you see if you can put it down in the comments. It's a very interesting fact, and although I don't understand PSI, so Poseidon, Nicker Poseidon, about 230 pounds of pressure per square inch, 250-ish, Siraj, 250-ish. So by my trainer, he said about 250. By Google, it comes out at about 238 pounds of pressure per square inch on a German Shepherd bite. Now, the only way that I could kind of equate to that is that 238 pounds is about 17 stone, of pressure. But what I was also thinking about that is that about 200 Poseidon 328 for a Rottweiler. So yeah, so Rottweilers are higher, but their mouths are a lot shorter, isn't it? So they have a lot of pressure and a lot of power in quite a short nose. Where the German Shepherd obviously has like a longer nose, but obviously has the pressure on that as well. So yeah, I just found that really interesting the other day. And 238 pounds is about 17 stone. And it just made me kind of realize, and maybe hopefully this will make some of you realize, that when your dog bites, or a German Shepherd, when a German Shepherd bites, it is putting roughly about 17 stone of pressure per square inch on that bite. And that's why when you do this job, you kind of have to understand that if you're going to get your dog if you're going to get your dog to bite someone, you have to understand what you're doing, and that it's not a joke, and it's not a, oh sorry, I didn't realize, or it's not a, oh sorry about that. Like, this is serious. And 238, is that, I'll be interested to know, 238, is that a dog that is taught how to bite? Like, you might have a German Shepherd at home that is your pet, and it might have a bite, and it might bite onto a toy, and you have a bit of a play and things like that, and like it might really mean it. If you compare that to a dog that has been professionally trained to bite people and mean it, I wonder where that 238 goes. If that's just an average, where does that 238 go? Because not maybe sometimes my dog, but dogs at training, I've seen them when they play around and have a bite and a bit of a tussle, and then I've seen them when they really mean to have a bite, and the aggression is there, the intensity is there, and I just wonder where that 238 is. But what I was trying to put over to this is that imagine putting 17 stone of pressure per square inch on a bite. Imagine putting that onto a person that didn't deserve it, or putting that onto someone where you could have gone around where that didn't need to happen. And I just found that a really interesting fact. And like Nick said, Rottweiler, 328 pounds of pressure per square inch on a bite. You have to understand in this job that if you're going to put your dog to work and you're going to use your dog to obviously defend you, is there another way? Because that is a very big mistake to make if it's not needed, if there's another way around it. And I'm hoping that maybe just a dog handler that's watching this, that just maybe clicks something into their head of understanding the power and the damage that you can actually do with these dogs on a bare arm if you use it incorrectly. And maybe I don't want to scare people from doing it. I don't want to scare people from using their dogs if they need to, but I just want people to maybe understand and hear a fact that maybe will trigger into their mind of actually how dangerous or actually what they're doing when they put their dog to work on a bite. So I just found that really interesting. I thought I'd just share that with the group. Obviously, there was people that knew, but there'll be handlers out there that haven't heard that kind of fact. And if you Google it, if you Google like pressure per square inch per dog bite, there's a list of different ones and things like that. And obviously, the more power, more pressure per square inch, the more damage that dog can do on a certain bite. So I think German Shepherds, there was about, I want to say 17th on the list. They wasn't right at the top. There are other dogs, obviously with different breeds. There are other dogs that have a more powerful bite, like the Rottweiler is higher than the German Shepherd. But they're obviously the German Shepherd bite is powerful enough, but there are other dogs. I'm pretty sure that the German Shepherd was on par with a Great Dane. I'll tell you what, just while I'm looking at this, UK Security 101, I'm not baiting your dog for you, boss. Okay, so Nick must have a Rottweiler, and Aaron has just said that he'll put the sleeve on and run at the dog. Siraj, depends on the intent behind the bite. So yeah, that's what I was saying about 238. Is that an average over maybe like 5 dogs where they're just getting them to bite on a certain thing that obviously registered? But like I say, at training, I've seen dogs that will play with a tug thing and they'll have a bit of a bite and they'll have a bit of a tug. And then I've seen it where a sleeve's introduced and now it's like go time for the dog. It's like, this is business time. And you can see the intensity, the power, the bite is nothing compared to like the bite bar little play around bite thing. So I was interested just to, if like that, whether that 238 was an average, but also to kind of understand that 17 stone of pressure per square inch on a German Shepherd bite, if you've got a trained dog, it can be higher than that and it can be more powerful than that. Nick, if you can't live with watching your dog get put down because of a silly decision you make to deploy the dog to live to a live bite, then you should not be putting the dog in that situation. And like I say, that's another part of why I kind of brought this up and started this conversation, is that remember that a lot of this, if you willy-nilly or you deploy your dog in the wrong situation, it's not just you that's going to be in trouble, it's going to be the dog. And unfortunately, in this job, your bad decision can end your dog's life. And you have to understand that And you might think it's not that bad, it's just a bite, but they can have serious consequences on that. And that can be 15 years in prison. That can be, you can be put up on a manslaughter kind of charge and things like that. So trying to understand that deploying your dog is not a joke, and trying to maybe put to you the consequences of that, and understanding what you're doing will hopefully make someone, even if it makes one handler make a better decision, this conversation's worth it, because that one decision will save one dog. It will could save one person. It could save one person's job, things like that. So even if this conversation starts off conversation with someone else, this conversation is worth it, because the last thing you want is that the dog bites someone, that person dies, and then it turns out that didn't need to happen. The dog's put down. Obviously, we've got a victim. The dog gets put down. The handler's now up on the manslaughter charge. So understanding all of this is what this job is about. It's about decision making and making good, educated decisions. And if that good, educated decision is understanding how powerful and how much damage these dogs can do, then that is what this conversation is about. So, UK Security 101. You have to remember, guys, we are civilians. We have no special rights. If you use the dog against someone, you've used a weapon, and that has got to be justified. So, I was speaking to someone about this a little bit. I was speaking to someone about this a little while ago, in that anything you do, the law is so fickle that they don't want to tell you what you can and can't do, because if you do something that they say you can and something bad happens, they can't prosecute you. So a lot of what we do is your decisions have to be able to be justified in a court of law. So a lot of stuff you'll be able to do, but if it goes wrong, they will say, how can you justify that? So there'll be certain situations where you can deploy your dog to protect you, but if something goes wrong, you will have to be able to justify that in a court of law. And this is why I say body cameras are not the most vital piece of kit, but body cameras can get you out of situations, because what's on a body camera cannot lie, and that can get you out of situations where you may have numerous people that didn't see the whole thing and tell their side of the story, which may only be half of it, but it makes you come out in a bad way. So body cameras are very vital. Like I said, we are civilians. All we are is licensed security officers with dog handling capabilities. We're not the police. We don't have certain responsibilities above anyone else that we can do whatever we like. You have to understand, yes, we are civilians and things like that. Danny Rolfe, use of a dog rates second to lethal force, first behind a firearm. So I actually heard about this as well, and this is actually a very interesting stat that I heard, that on like the police list of lethal weapons, it goes something like firearm, dog, knife. They consider a dog more dangerous and more lethal than knives. Now, obviously, firearms, obviously no one really wins against that. They consider the use of a dog higher than knife. So obviously we know a lot about knife crime, and we know that's rife in certain areas of the country. We know it happens a lot, and you hear people getting put up on manslaughter, murder charges, things like that. Now, if you consider the dog that you're working and the dog that you're in control of is listed higher than knife crime, you can kind of see where the charges would go if you use that dog incorrectly. The same way the charges go when you use a knife incorrectly. Obviously, you're not allowed to carry knives and things like that unless you're obviously like a chef transporting or whatever. But if you used a knife incorrectly, you see what charges they are. Now consider that the dog that you have and you're in control of and responsible for, that is considered a higher risk than knives. You kind of see and try, and you kind of understand what you're in control of and what your responsibilities are. Nick at Poseidon, any force used by a person must be reasonable, justified, and proportionate. Someone climbing a fence does not warrant a dog bite, of course. So dog bites are obviously last resorts. So any force used by a person has to be reasonable. So if someone is walking out, I'm going to take this a different way. So I'm going to talk about being a bouncer in a nightclub. So everyone's been in a nightclub, I would imagine, and let's say someone's misbehaving. So for a bouncer or a security officer, the person, it must be reasonable. So you must be reasonable with the force that you use. If you can just hold their arm and walk them out, that's perfect. If you don't need to go any more than that, then that's obviously perfect. Justifiable. So if that person is causing a situation in the club, so is it justifiable for that person to be thrown out? Yes, it is justifiable, because that person is affecting other people whose then moods are going to be different, and that could lead to things down the line, or that could lead to a bigger situation than it is already. And proportionate. So reasonable, just going to guide you out, take you by the arm, guide you out. Justifiable, yes, because you could start a bigger situation. And proportionate, once I get you outside, I don't then throw you in the road, or the bouncer doesn't start kicking you down the road because you've acted up in there. So like I say, you have to be reasonable, justifiable, and proportionate with everything that you do. And like I say, like he says, someone climbing over a fence doesn't require a dog bite. It just requires you to challenge the person, tell them that they're on a private property. Did they not see the signs? Did they understand they're not allowed to be there? Right, can I take you to the exit and escort you out? No, I want to go back over the fence. No, so I suggest that you go out the entrance. If they start climbing over the fence, just let them do it. Danny Rolfe, all about perception and justification from all parties involved. So yeah, I mean, you have to remember that if someone is being aggressive and things like that, you have a justifiable reason to protect yourself. If there's a weapon, things like that, they're justifiable kind of things. To turn around and say that you think you saw something, sometimes isn't justifiable. If it turns out that they don't have that, if you say I think I saw something, so I set the dog, that's not going to be justifiable. In a court of law, they're going to want to see proof that what you saw was actually there. And if it turns out it wasn't there, then it's not justified, because you've made an assumption rather than an educated decision. So yeah, like I say, it's all about perception and justification from all parties involved. That's a good comment, Dan. Okay, guys, we are just over an hour, so I would like to thank you all for dropping in again. Everyone that's been in the comments, really good. I think like we've gone through some different things. There's been some new people dropping in, asking questions. There's been a lot of the normal people that's there. James Foster, how do, bud? Sorry, I missed. Yes. Obviously, this is going to go back up. James, I would suggest that you obviously go through this. You watch this when it goes, the stream's up. It's been really good. I'd like to thank Nick at Poseidon. He's been quite vital in this chat, really, coming up with good information and obviously putting his side. Security 101, Siraj, Danny, everyone else that's been in this chat. Like I say, I want to thank everyone that's dropped in. If you haven't, and if you're only just dropping in now, obviously this video will be live once I end it. Go back, read it, watch it, understand it, listen to what people have been saying or what I've been reading out. And yeah, like I say, thank you for watching. There'll be I'm trying to do a video for Saturday, so we'll get that sorted. And like I say, we'll get back here in a couple of weeks to have another live where we can continue these chats, and I'll try and find some more stats that we can have a chat about. So thanks for watching. See you later, guys. See you next week. Bye.